What time is it? It is game time. It is week one game time. The the pandemonium, the excitement, the thing that we've been building up for ever. It seems like. Oh my God! It is finally upon us. Danny Ramirez, how are we doing today? I'm so excited.
I think you said it for the both of us. I'm just excited we're finally here. This is what we've been working up to, right? Week one, and we're here. So it doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah, like this is the Sun City Leatherheads podcast. I'm a little excited that I haven't gone through the whole intro yet, but welcome everyone. Please like, follow, share this podcast. We're trying to get more followers and more feedback. But yeah, so super stoked. I mean, last year told you before week one that the Lions would upset the Kansas City Chiefs week one, and it happened. As much as I would like to see the Chiefs lose tomorrow, I don't see this one happening. I think at the very end it'll week one will start basically how everyone expects, and the champs will show why they're champs. But anyway, let's go with some NFL news. And before I jump into NFL news, Danny, it's crazy, right? So we're in week three now for the NFL college, right? Because they're always a week ahead. Um, so they're about to become week three esque, week two for the main because there's a few teams that have already played, which ironically, so people would put probably Colorado last year as like the most disappointing, right? Of like how everything ended. They didn't win a game since like October of last year. Before this past week, they just went on a stumble, and I think if you're watching college football right now, Florida State already has to be the disappointment of the college football because you get upset Georgia Tech, and then the college football ranking, the guys who do all that mess, they gave them a mulligan. They kept them at number 10. They're like, you know what, okay, we get it, now everyone's playing. You guys traveled across the world to go play, blah blah blah. Then they get steamrolled by Boston College last week. So I'm like, yeah, Florida State's the disappointment of 2024, I think, in college already.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It only took 2 weeks for that to happen,
Right, and it's
and
so
and this
weird.
is the first year that there's going to be an actual playoff, right? So there might be a little bit more room for error. You might have teams with more losses, playing for the national championship playoff or whatever we're calling it these days.
Right,
But after losing back to back games to Georgia
right,
Tech and to Boston College, like, yeah, I think they just shot those chances down
and
for sure.
and they're gonna play better teams down the road too. Like, I mean, those were two teams that they
Yeah.
were supposed to be, and then now you're gonna play. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I saw that, I was like, you can't go 0-2, and then there's a 12 playoff format now, like a 12-team playoff format. Like, you had all the opportunity to just ride the wave, right? And then you've already, like, I mean, I don't know. You basically went to go surfing without the surfboard. Like, you're just like, all right, here we go, guys, let's go, woo! And then you're getting washed away right now by that.
Now you're drowning.
Yeah, the college football committee for sure. All right, so NFL news. Danny Ramirez, let me have a little fun with these San Francisco 49er fans that I told them that Brandon Ayuk would have all the power because of the Super Bowl hangover and blah, blah, blah. Like, he was either going to get traded and get an intense, money check and have a good long contract, or San Francisco was going to just end up biting the bullet and accept their losses from injury and that they need him and that they want him. And then all these people are like, he has no leverage. Well, guess what? He had the leverage because they gave him a fat contract because they know that they need him because we already said their Super Bowl window is kind of going like this, right? Pretty soon it's going to be
Yeah.
a solar eclipse. They're just going to cross over each other, and they know, like, man, we couldn't beat him twice, or we couldn't beat the Chiefs twice with him. Can you imagine us going up with a gauntlet chief, or someone in the NFC conference, trying to get over the hump to go back to the Super Bowl without him? So it would have been a steep hole to fill. And then another breaking news for San Francisco, obviously terrible news. Pearsall, man, what's his first name? Ricky Pearsall,
Oh,
right?
yeah, Ricky Pearsall.
Ricky Pearsall, may he get better safely and perfectly, because he gets shot crazily through the chest, I believe, from someone trying to rob him, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, speedy. So yeah, like, I mean, you go from injuries, in training camp for the San Francisco 49ers. You got a Super Bowl hangover. Your running back is, had a calf injury. He sat out the whole time. We don't know how fully he's going to be prepared or ready. And then, of course, he's on the cover of Madden. So who knows if that lingers towards, to terrible things later. Brandon Ayuk finally comes, doesn't go through a whole training camp or nothing. And then your poor rookie receiver standout, poor guy gets shot from an attempted robbery. That's terrible.
There's been a lot going on for the 49ers, right? A lot of ups and downs and
Right.
just crazy stories for them. But I guess in a positive note, right? They got Trent Williams, and sorry to steal your thunder here.
No, this is good.
Next. But Trent Williams finally gets paid. It gets his extension, so now he's there with the team, and so these are key signings that they're making right before the regular season. And as a Niner fan, well, as for Niner fans, not as a Niner fan, but for Niner fans, I think that's what they want, right? They want their complete team as they start the regular season. And then granted, right, Trent Williams and also Brandon Ayuk, I don't think they need to be a part of training camp. They know how to, approach the season. They may be a little rusty now because they weren't, practicing as much as the others, but
right,
as long as they're there, right, and you have Trent Williams protecting Purdy's blind side, I think that's what's important. And for Pearsall, man, this guy was supposed to be a rookie that contributes this year. So it sucks to see that he got shot over the weekend, and I'm glad to hear that he's recovering because it could have been a lot worse for his sake. So
yeah,
it just sucks that they have to go through all this. I just wonder if all this becomes a distraction eventually. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. There's so much going on, and then there's kids. And then there's people like, oh, McCaffrey, you're the cover, you're the greatest. It takes a toll, I'm sure, psychologically. Eventually, like these guys have been built this way. They know what's coming at them or for them. So, but it does take a toll. But yeah, 49ers have some interesting, like just a roller coaster, right, during training camp. And so, of course, CeeDee Lamb also finally is signed with the Dallas Cowboys, which, I mean, I knew that was going to happen. Jerry was just playing fake fiddle over here and, being Jerry. He just wanted to be in the news. Like, he was like, oh, you guys are talking to me? Cool. All right. Sounds good. All right. Yeah, come on. But, yeah, he was going to sign him. He's going to sign Micah, and for Dak Prescott's sake and for, I guess, as a Cowboys fan's sake, I really do hope that they wait until the offseason to decide what's going to happen. Because let's say he says, bet on me. He does, he has a FU season where he goes out and maybe, is possibly front runner for MVP because he was number 2 in votes last year against Lamar Jackson. And Lamar probably got it just because of his running, because Dak threw the most touchdowns over Patrick Mahomes, over Joe Burrow's injured, but there's so many Jalen Hurts, there's so many quarterbacks that you could put in there, and Dak Prescott led the league in touchdown throws. So I want him to at this point I want him to bet on himself, just like I'm gonna have a FU year, like let's go see what we can do without knowing the future. And like if he just gets to the NFC Championship game, then obviously you give him any key that he wants, because that means that he can get to that potential game because most teams will always tell you like the championship games are a lot tougher than just playing in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, you're a little more loose. You have media. You got 2 weeks to think about it. There's so much, you get relaxed time, and then you just go out and ball. But the NFC and the AFC Championship game, it's like, bro, one more game, we get to go to Super Bowl. All the people that are bruised or banged up, especially the long, drawn-out season, and then, through the playoffs, like, damn, things got more physical in the playoffs because that's what happens. And then it's just that like one, right? So I hope that they don't get a contract extension for him just yet, just because, like, imagine the pandemonium. Like, the last 2 years with Brady, Russell Wilson, and so many things going on. Can you imagine if Dak Prescott hits the free agency market out of like him throwing another 36 touchdown type of year? Can you imagine like his money and then the people fighting for him? I mean, if
he'll get what he wants,
absolutely, and he'll go to a team that'll just build everything around him, I'm sure, and it's pretty crazy. But yeah, so CD and Brandon, the receivers that were in limbo. I got some news in Denver. Patrick Surtain, The amazing two-time pro quarterback. He reached a 4-year, 96 million extension, 77.5 guaranteed. Can you imagine for a
Well
cornerback?
deserved.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Uh,
well deserved.
oh, absolutely. But just it's the market these days, right? So you're just like, oh, damn, that's a cornerback. Like that back then, that was a
Yeah.
quarterback. So like it,
Hmm.
it's good for him. It's exciting, and like you said, it's well deserved. He's one of the best, if not the best. Like I mean, you can put him, Trayvon Diggs, and I mean, there's a small few, and that like back then you had Revis Island, and you had like a few that are just like sticking out so precisely that you're like, yeah, it's well deserved that this guy gets his contract because um, he's a stud.
Well, he was the only bright spot in Denver, right? Through the rebuild and all of that. So yeah, he deserves every penny, and he's a big contributor on that defense. So it's well deserved.
Yeah, last several years, I mean, that's definitely their biggest price spot. I would say him and Cortland Sutton, just because Cortland has
Yeah.
had the quarterback play that he's had the last several years, and he just shows up, does his job, doesn't be a diva. He just like provides. And I can love and respect someone and root for someone like that, just because like it's not his fault that his numbers are not as good as it should be. It's just the people around him are lacking the play.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Um, right. And then Sam Cosmi signed a 4-year, 74 million extension for the Washington Commanders, 45 million guaranteed. So obviously they love him in Washington and want to shore up that line for Jaden Daniels going forward. Um, so yeah, man, it's exciting, man. Just the NFL being back is crazy. Do you have any news for me, Danny?
No news, but it's I guess the trend here is that everybody's getting paid right before the season,
Yeah, you get a contract. You get a contract. Someone must have called Oprah Winfrey. Roger Goodell,
right?
Roger Goodell probably was like, "All right, guys, you gotta. Now's the time to pay up or shut up."
Which is smart if you think about it from a team perspective, because
Right.
now with the whole streaming and Peacock's streaming a game on Friday between the Packers and the Eagles, so you never know how that's gonna impact the revenue next year, right? There might be more money coming in for everybody,
Right.
and that might make the players actually want or request more money.
And that's the whole Dak Prescott thing. Like, imagine, like, you don't get him a contract extension, and then I mean, as a Cowboy fan, absolutely, this is the dream. But like, let's miraculously, this dude gets the Super Bowl. Like, Dallas Cowboys are finally the Super Bowl, and it'll be the most crazy Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure ever, just because of social media now. But imagine the contract you'll have to give him.
Yeah,
Like, you would. I mean,
that'd be massive.
it'd be like $1 billion. Like, it'd be like the craziest thing ever.
He'll get paid like something close to Mahomes, like, and
Right.
Mahomes deserves every penny, right? So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be something
Absolutely.
outrageous.
Yeah, it'd be insane. And then everyone would be like, Jerry, like you guys are worth like 12 million. Like, how are you going to tell me you can't do this? So don't even play. So yeah, it's 12 billion is crazy, or they're getting to 12 billion at least. Whew. All right. So what's next, Danny Ramirez? I think we're gonna do week one
Week one preview.
preview. Let's go.
So let's take a look at the games and see what
Yes,
that looks like.
give me that beautiful list, sir. Roll me that beautiful bean footage. Remember the bean commercial?
The bean commercial, no,
Remember
never
the
refresh me.
golden retriever, and the guy would be talking about his bean, like the roasting beans or whatever.
No.
Oh man, it's so good. I'm pretty sure they had a few in the Super Bowl too, or like during the NFL season. Like if you go to YouTube later, like look it up, you'll roll my beautiful bean footage. Like it was a classic thing for a while.
That doesn't ring a bell. Maybe once I see it, maybe it'll spark
Yeah.
a memory there. But let's go ahead and see what this looks like.
Where's Gabe? He hasn't chimed in. Where's everybody? What's going on? Phew.
All right. So, of course, tomorrow's first game of the season is between, you kind of touched on it earlier, right? You touched on the Kansas City Chiefs winning this game.
Right.
But it's going to be between Baltimore. So we get a look into, Derrick Henry's first or debut with the Ravens. So it's going to be his first game with the Ravens. I don't even think he played this whole preseason, right? So we get a fresh Derrick Henry. We get to see how he looks, side by side with Lamar Jackson and what that running style is going to look like in Baltimore. So I'm
But
super excited to see that. Oh, go ahead.
No. I'm just gonna chime into what you're saying. Like, I'm excited to see it too, but you alluded to that he hasn't played at all, right?
Yeah,
And
he'll be rusty.
a little rusty. But that rust, he's not used to an option quarterback. Well, that rust hit, and then they get a bad fumble at a wrong time, and then it goes Kansas City's way, and then it changes the game.
Yeah. I mean, that could
That's a
happen. We've seen it
yeah,
before.
that's a
Week one,
possibility.
that's why a lot of teams win in week one. A lot of teams are not supposed to win in week one, right? Because these things happen. Russ is there and you see it. And so that wouldn't surprise me if that did happen. I just hope that for tomorrow's sake, it's a competitive game that goes kind of like
Right.
last year, right? It went
One
to
point.
the end. Yeah. And so does it come down to a Justin Tucker field goal? Is it a blowout by the Kansas City Chiefs? Like all of that's going to be just exciting to watch. But another on the other side, right? Another thing that I'm excited about is what does the Kansas City offense look like with another Tyreek Hill clone? Do we see that magic right
Dangerous.
away, or do we see does it take a little bit for it to kind of develop and build that chemistry? So that's going to be in the preseason. I mean, you saw it right away. You saw it in training camp.
Right.
So I don't think it's going to take too long for that to build that chemistry. So yeah, that's Thursday's tomorrow's matchup. So it's gonna be a good one. Do you have any thoughts on it before we move on to Friday?
So I'm just what I love about this, it's this game right here will dictate literally probably later on in the season.
Yeah,
Like it's like, man, they have like the similar schedule. They're the same record. Like they're pushing in to try to get the number one seed or whatever seed. And then it's like, well, we beat them week one and we have the same strength schedule. Like these two juggernauts going on, because last year it was two different conferences. This
yeah,
one's the same conference. So this week one is going to dictate probably later on a number one seed.
yeah. No, that's a good point. And it sucks that it has to be week one that this happens
But I
because of
love
that
it.
rust factor.
Yeah, I love it because it's like, hey, put up or shut up. Like this is week one. Everything matters now. Like later on, is this going to hurt us or elevate us to where we need to go?
Yeah, that's gonna be good. And again, Baltimore on the other side of the ball, right on defense, they lost Patrick Queen. They just have Roquan Smith now. So what is that defense gonna look like?
Right. He's probably wants to go back to Chicago now.
I know he'd probably be wishing he could be a part of this
The new,
magical season that's
yeah,
about to happen.
the new regime,
Right.
the regime team. All right. So Friday we get. I pray to God they tie. Like I don't want either one to win. I don't want. I mean, I pray that they tie. But the Green Bay Packers, who are, I mean, they're limping in. They've had their injuries just like San Francisco. They've had an interesting training camp also preseason. So we'll see how that goes. And no AJ, like you just lost AJ Dillon for the year. Aaron Jones is not there anymore. You signed a solidified running back, but like, do you have the depth there? Are you just going to leave everything on Jordan Love's shoulders the whole time? Like that's not cool either.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a weird matchup because they're playing on a Friday. They're playing on Peacock, which a lot of people probably don't have. And then they're playing in Brazil. And I don't know if you saw some of the comments. I think it was Darius Slay in his weekly podcast. He said that they're not letting any of the players go out because it's so dangerous out there.
Right.
And a
Like
lot of
none
yeah,
of them can do anything.
yeah, so it's like it's weird. It's like they're all traveling again down to Brazil, and it's going to be a different dynamic, right? They're not used to playing on Friday nights since probably high school.
Yeah.
And then also they're not going to have their family around them. They're not going to be able to really, I don't know, I guess go out and do anything, build that rapport with their new teammates or anything like that. It's just strictly business, playing the game, going on the bus, flying back home, which is really weird. And again, you mentioned with the matchup before where it's gonna matter when it comes to playoff time. Same thing here, right? You're gonna have two potential playoff caliber teams here playing against each other, and it might come down to seeding. And it sucks that a Brazil matchup may dictate, Philadelphia Eagle game or a win or a Green Bay Packer win. And I don't know. It's just a lot of, I don't know. It's just very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just not an ideal situation for any of the players on both teams.
I think this game, probably out of all the week one matchups, is the most dictating and important. Lamar and the Ravens with Harbaugh will be okay. Chiefs, if they lose again somehow in their inaugural Super Bowl game, they'll be okay. These two teams are going to be trying to fight to win their division. They have Dallas and against Philadelphia. Green Bay has Detroit and a revamped Chicago. Chicago's not going to be no slouch in any imagination. And you're going to tell me that week one doesn't matter because you're going to be trying to fight and win for a division, let alone try to get a seeding in the conference. So this
Yep.
game right here is intense. Week one from the jump on a weird day on Friday in a country that, apparently wants to, throw, massive sticks at you or something, whatever. I don't know. But like it's Brazil. It's crazy how they think it's that. Is it that dangerous? Like that's like why are we there? Like, because like if it's that bad, this might be the one and done time we go to Brazil, like players can be like, why are we going if we can't even do anything? Or why are we going if we're afraid of them attacking us? Like, it makes no sense.
I mean, what I don't understand about this game here in Brazil is that they're going into like a country that is predominantly, you know, soccer watchers, right? They're not into the NFL. I wouldn't think that much.
Right.
And so, yes, you want to expand the NFL across the world globally or whatever, but I don't think this is the right situation, especially week one, to take a pair of teams to go and play in a foreign country where it's potentially hazardous. You don't know. Again, you never played in Brazil before. You don't know what the stadium conditions are like. You don't know what the grass is like. And again, to risk their injury just because you want to expand the NFL globally, like it doesn't make any sense to me. And it sucks that it's an important matchup for both teams, and they're both, like you said, they're both in conference or in division that are going to be very difficult for them to win. Right? It's going to be a very like difficult, tough nosed division for both, right? Whether it be the North or the East, and for them to be kind of put in the situation and have to compete in a foreign place, I think that's just, I don't know, a weird place for them to start the year on.
I'll tell you what, though. I'm glad it's them and not
And not
us.
us. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's a
Woo.
good point for sure.
Yes,
But
sir. All right. So two of the quarterbacks and two of the teams that I've been talking about most this offseason because I love the way that they're going about business is the Pittsburgh Steelers and Atlanta Falcons. I probably have talked about them two the most along with my Dallas Cowboys because I'm like, dude, they're trying to go all in with the pieces that they have right now and they're trying to make something magical.
yep.
Um, this one is a question mark game because if one of these quarterbacks doesn't look too well and gets beat by the other, this is going to be already like well, did we get the right guy? We have a backup. Should we put the backup in? Like this this week one for both teams and both quarterbacks is very, very important. And honestly, if it's at Atlanta, I'll definitely give the favor to Kirk Cousins at this point. If it was in Pittsburgh, maybe it'd be going Russell Wilson's way. But I'm like in Atlanta. Of course, Russell's bettering natural grass outside. Yeah, so I don't know, man. This is a tricky game for these quarterbacks because you have two backups that are just ready to eat at the table also. So you can't look terrible. If you lose by like 3 points and it was a competitive game, then no talks will happen. Like nothing will, no shutters in the in the walls or whatever in the whispers. But if one of these guys throws like 2 to 3 picks, gets train wrecked by the other team, and you have the young and apparent backup ready to eat at the table, the whispers are already going to start.
And that's a dangerous game for any
Yes,
of these two teams, right?
both
Because
of
once
them.
you once you start to talk about putting in the backup, and granted, I know a lot of these whispers, right? Ever since Mitch Trubisky was here,
Ditch
Nick Foles was here,
Mitch. Oh,
or
absolutely.
Rex Grossman or Kyle Orton, like those whispers haunt a team because as
Right.
soon as they have any type of success, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, great." But then as soon as they see an interception, a fumble, or something they're calling for the backup, that just kills the whole chemistry with the team, right?
Right.
It's a different quarterback behind the center. It's a different type of ball that's coming from their throw. It's just not a team that's looking to make a push for the playoffs. And hopefully for both of these teams' sakes, right there, that's not the case. That's not an issue for them, but it's potentially this is going to be a really fun matchup to keep an eye on just because
Right.
you have Kirk Cousins who's kind of trying to come back from that Achilles injury. And then he has a supporting cast around him now that he probably hasn't had in a while. He has the really good running back in Bijan. Then you have, Drake London, you have Darnell Mooney, you have just all these weapons for him to utilize. And so you want to see him come out and really have some success. And then for Pittsburgh's sake, they revamped their defense. Their defense should be much improved.
Right.
And their offense, the same thing, right? They've added a few playmakers alongside George Pickens. So there's no excuse for either Justin Fields or whoever's, whether that be Wilson, right? If they're playing, there should be no excuse that they're not, pushing the ball down the field like they were before in the
That
past.
they're capable of.
Exactly.
Yeah, this game is going to be a fun and interesting game to just like observe, just because it's a lot writing on the wall for these organizations that are trying to change their fortunes, right? Um,
Who you
Pittsburgh
got
had,
winning this game?
I say Atlanta just because it's in Atlanta. I think I might have gone Pittsburgh if it was in Pittsburgh, but I think the home crowd, it'll help at least one drive that'll just change the game. And if you got Bijan Robinson, hopefully doing what Bijan Robinson was drafted for, because they didn't run him a lot last year, which is the most bizarre thing ever.
Yeah,
I don't
no
understand
sense.
how he's running back too, and you drafted him so high and all this jet. Like, I don't know
I
that
know.
there's a reason why you have a new coaching staff there. That's for sure. But
Yeah. And where's he at? Pittsburgh as an offensive
yeah,
coordinator.
yeah. So there's a little love and hate there too, right? So I mean, there's a lot of things riding on this one.
Yeah, that might be
Man.
some more extra motivation for that Atlanta offense, right? To show
or
up.
or actually defense, because they're going to shut up their old offensive coordinator.
Well, that's what I mean. Well, from the defense, yes, but also from the offense side, right? Like Bijan's case, he
Yeah,
wasn't utilized by Arthur Smith, and now going up against Arthur Smith's team, like he's gonna want to prove a point that hey, you
right.
didn't use me right.
Yeah, oh man, this week one is going to be so fun.
I forgot to ask you for the previous game before that with the Eagles and Packers. Who do you have there?
Do you really want me to pick?
Mm-hmm.
I think Philly wins.
Yep. Does
What
does
do
Jordan
you
Love have
think?
a bad game?
It I honestly think the depth is just going to show from the jump. People are going to get tired. We're in Brazil, the heat of Brazil. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't get out of our damn hotel room. We're frustrated. We're angsty. Like, I think the Eagles will be better depth to prepare for this than the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, and not because I don't like the Packers or nothing like that. I just think
No, you
to
don't.
your point, it's a depth, right? The depth that
Right.
I mean, they now have a legit running back in Saquon Barkley.
And
They
where'd the
have,
other running back go?
yeah, he's gonna go the other side.
To Chicago. He went to
Yeah,
Chicago.
to the dark side.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But yeah, no, I think Jordan Love still has a good game. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, honestly. Just because a lot of these teams didn't play in the preseason in the Philadelphia side, and then Jordan Love did play a couple games, but not long enough to really build that chemistry, right?
I
So I think it's gonna.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think that Jordan Love just has a really good game, as far as like passing the ball to different people within his offense. And what I'm curious to see is Josh Jacobs. How does he look running the ball? Does he look better than Aaron Jones? Because my thought is he's going to struggle a little bit going up against that defensive line. And that's pretty simply why I chose the Eagles over the Packers, just because of the defense being a little bit better than Green Bay's.
I just pray that they tie. I really do. But it's an interesting game. Like we said, I think it's going to be a sloppy game, to be honest.
You think so?
I think it's just the weirdness of it, the Brazil, like, I just think that it's not going to be how Green Bay and Philadelphia would have looked if they were playing actually at Philadelphia, because Philadelphia Philadelphia supposedly the home team, but who knows? You're going to see Cowboys jerseys over there or something. But so was it game 2 at 11 a.m. is the Arizona Cardinals and the Buffalo Bills. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Danny,
so
as crazy as this sounds and as unfortunate as it sounds, this game in week 1 is one of the trap games.
For who?
Buffalo.
Really?
Kyler Murray hasn't played a while, and I get that, we don't know what he's going to do. Going back to the depth, how many defensive players did Buffalo lose? Can the young guys, what happens if Marvin Harrison Jr. gets loose? Do they show their frustration? Do they panic? What happens? I think this is an early, well, of course, there's so many trap games in each week, but I think this is one of those games where Buffalo is expected to win, probably by several, but almost, was it 6.5? They're favored by 7 points.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if you look at Arizona and Buffalo the last several years, they're only favored by 7. That doesn't sound good to me. And
this is. Oh, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. Go for it.
No. I just think that, like, if it does get a little pushy and does get a little nitty, like, a little gritty, Arizona has a chance to slip out with the win.
Yeah.
If they go into overtime, it's over. Because for some reason, I don't know why this is. I don't know how the football gods do this, or curse Josh Allen. He's never won in the playoffs or in the overtime. It is the weirdest stat for someone that is so good and, like, it throws so many touchdowns, and, like, it's so weird that he's never won in overtime. And he's been in the league for 7 years now or something, 6 years, 5 years, I don't know.
And it always takes a crazy play to beat him in the overtime, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's so bizarre.
It is. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily think this is a trap game. But it's gonna be a more close game than people want to imagine, especially Buffalo Bills fans. I just feel like, again, you mentioned a lot of those departures, right? I think that plays a big role on their defense. I don't think they're gonna play with as much edge as we've been used to seeing the Buffalo Bills defense play with. Arizona is scary on offense, and simply because of Marvin Harrison Jr. They have also Michael Wilson, who's also took that next step as a rookie last year. So he's no slouch either, right? So I just think that they have a lot of good offensive pieces. And we saw what James Conner can do on the running back. They have
What's that tight end that I like?
Trey McBride.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good solid players for Arizona's offense. And I think I'm with you. I think the Buffalo Bills do lose, but it's not going to be a trap game because I think that Buffalo's not going to be so good this year. I think they're going to really struggle, at least for the first couple games in the regular season. And I think eventually, as Josh Allen gets used to his weapons and the rookies and those new wide receivers that came into Buffalo, it's going to take him a little bit to get that feeling of being able to take his team down the field like he did with ease, these last couple of years.
And this is all speculation, right? Buffalo could possibly steamroll them. I'm just saying, if it gets a little gritty, there's a chance that Arizona comes out with it.
Yeah, it's not gonna be an easy game. It's
No.
not. You know,
Week
we've been so used to watching the Bills, start off really hot, the
right.
offense looking amazing. I think this is gonna be a different year where it's gonna take them a little bit to get going.
A little longer.
But that's dangerous because in a division that's so stacked like theirs,
And if
you're
Aaron
going up
Rodgers
against
stays healthy,
yeah, it might be too late to overcome all these losses
right.
at the beginning.
Especially if we lose to an Arizona team that hasn't been nothing for 4 years.
Hmm. Yeah.
At least
So
three.
I'm with you there. I think Arizona does take that game.
So game 3, Tennessee over Chicago. I think that you're gonna pick Chicago, obviously. I think this game is intriguing because both teams are excited to see where their youth takes them. Like this is youth versus youth, and let's just go punch each other in the jaw and see who comes out winning. Like I think that's what it is. It's like two new boxers that are in the training facility. It's like, all right, yeah, I got this new young kid. He's pretty bad. And then the other trainer's like, hey man, you should see my boy. And then they're just gonna slug it out, and then one guy's just gonna do one haymaker, and it's the KO, and then that's it. I think this is the youth game basically is like let's see what we've loaded up with because we've tried to get receivers, we've got quarterback, we got running backs. We've did everything right in the off season. Now let's just go throw haymakers and see what we can do. And I think this is the Chicago Titans game. So I think
Who wins?
Chicago pulls it out because they're at home.
Yeah. That's the only reason why I'm picking the Bears to win this week. Is just because of the home, field advantage.
Right. And then the Tennessee's a young team.
Yeah, and yeah, they're a young team. Will Levis played a couple of games last year. I think that if the Bears defense, gets some pressure, hopefully they do. If they rattle him, it's going to be too loud of an environment for him to kind of overcome that. And
Absolutely.
that's simply the reason why I'm picking Chicago, not because I think they're much more superior than them. On defense, they're just as capable as the Bears defenses. They have really good playmakers on the D line, in the secondary. I mean, they got what's his name, L'Jarius Sneed from the Kansas City Chiefs. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no slouch back there, right? They're going to be able to test Caleb Williams as well, and we'll see how he responds. But just simply because of the home field advantage, I'm going with the Bears. I think they
Right.
win this one in a close game.
So game 4 of this slate, I think, is another trap game. Cincinnati with their off field of like, is Jamar Chase going to play? What's going to happen? All this lingering.
He's
Joe Burrow's
back.
coming from injury. But yeah, is it too late? I mean, you're still going to come out slow. You might miss a few opportunities, like a few passes, or might misread what Joe Burrow wants. Like I don't know. Like this is a dangerous game that the Bengals played with, and you should whitewash New England. Like there should not even be any imagination of a sweat. But with you, like T. Higgins not happy, Jamar Chase sat out. There's so much going on in the backfield that Jacoby Brissett is a veteran and he's going to just show up and play with nothing to lose because he has nothing to lose. He knows that there's the young guy that's supposed to take over pretty soon. He knows that Joe Burrow's supposed to whitewash him, and he's just going to go and throw haymakers. Like he's just going to go and be like, screw it. Like I'm just going to go down swing and see what happens. And it's a puncher's chance, right? So Cincinnati played with a bad, bad juju with this training camp offseason of how they dealt with it. So I think Bengals still win. I think they do win like they're supposed to, but I just think that like it's just you played with a little too much bad juju that maybe you start even slower after in week 2 and when you start playing teams that you're going to possibly compete against to try to get into the playoffs with. But New England should be trash.
I see what you're saying, and you make valid points simply because the Bengals didn't really play in the preseason. I think Joe Burrow did practice, and he was a part of the, what do they call it when, trying to blank on the name, but simply when teams go and practice with other teams during training camp. He was able to do that with Chicago, and so he got some experience. But yeah, he didn't really play this preseason, so I think there's going to be a rust factor there. And New England has nothing to lose, right? They're going into the season with really low expectations. I think their fans know that as well. They're starting a rookie quarterback in Drake May, and so they're supposed to lose this game, right? So they're going to be even more motivated to prove the world wrong that they can compete against like one of the best AFC teams um,
The last few
right in that
years.
conference. Yeah, so I think it's close, but I think Cincinnati still, is able to win that game
Right.
simply
Yeah.
because of the New England's not there with the whole talent.
Well, I think Brissett's supposed to start. Brissett's the
Oh,
starter.
oh, I thought Drake May got.
No, like he was after Brissett got injured. I was like, okay, now it's probably gonna be Drake May's show. Well, I guess his
Oh,
injury wasn't that bad, and then Mayo said Brissett would be the starter for Week 1. So that's what I'm saying. Like this guy has
yeah.
nothing to lose at this point. He's just gonna I'm gonna go touchdown for touchdown just because like I'm gonna play loose and free because hell, I'm gonna be free next year anyway. So, man, this is so crazy. This is exciting. So the next game, Danny, is going to be one of the first games that's going to just do the whole ditch rich regime year that I'm going to start. I think that, barring any injury, whatever is like, I think Houston is just going to, the defense against Trent Richardson, and then the offense is going to have short field till half the time. They're just going to eat and eat and eat on this Indianapolis Colts team.
Yeah. Their defense is no joke.
Nope. And Colts' defense isn't a slouch either. But when your quarterback is probably going to throw 1 or 2 picks and it's just going to make you tired because you're going to be on the field the whole damn time, Houston's going to just bull rush these. Like, it's crazy. It's a bull versus a horse, right? Like, they're just going to go and put their damn horn and then pop that horse and it's over.
Yeah, no, I think Houston. I'm really excited about Houston this year. I think they're going to be one of the favorites in the AFC. And I don't honestly, I don't think they're going to start slow at all. I think with the additions that they've had this offseason, with Stephon Diggs, with Danielle Hunter, I think they're just going to take their team over the top. And from their defense, I expect big things. I think their defense has a potential to really generate a ton of pressure, making it very uncomfortable for any quarterback that goes up against them.
Absolutely.
And with Anthony Richardson's play style, does he play smart? Does he get flustered? Does he try to do too much with his legs?
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's probably going to be inevitable.
It spells for disaster.
Yeah.
And like going back to what you're saying about Danielle Hunter and Anderson Jr., that defense, that's like Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. You have a veteran who's been in the league for several years, and then now you get the young guy, and it's just going to be go kill. Like, just go kill. And it's like, all right, cool. I'm down.
Yeah. That's probably like really cool for like a player standpoint, right?
Right.
To be told, all right, go sick him.
Just go attack. And it's just like, I'm down. And I'm glad that Micah is going to be like pretty much defensive end the whole time now. Like the past, he was last year too. But I'm like, build the depth of the linebacking core so he can just go attack. That's his so in Madden, he has like 201 sacks now. Like he has the record. He passed Bruce Smith's record. So I'm like, if Dallas is smart and keep him his whole career, I honestly think he can do it in real life. Because if
what year is this? 2040?
Yeah, not yet, but like 9 years in, it's like 2032 or 30, whatever. But I'm saying like 9 years isn't that far from now. Like if you, as fast as our life has been going lately, and we're 36 and we can't fathom the idea. Like 9 years is going to come in a blink of an eye. And if Dallas is smart, keep him healthy. And if he just does like 10 sacks to 12 sacks a year, like he can break the record.
Yeah. We got to get some shirts made, some merch.
Yeah.
That's a t-shirt that says in Madden ... That'd
be great. We should.
This is always a topic of conversation. I love it. I don't mind hearing about your Madden journey.
Yeah, it's been intense, but yeah, I think that the Colts are just going to leave too much on the table, and then Houston's just going to eat it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Houston's going to win this by Not probably not a blowout, but they're gonna win by at least 10 points.
They're gonna win handedly. Like it's just like
Yeah,
it was never a question type thing. Jacksonville and Miami. That is an interesting game. Battle of Florida. We'll see what Trevor Lawrence shows up because if it's hot Trevor Lawrence, this game could be sneaky good because
yeah,
it could be from touchdown to touchdown and like this one you're talking about shootout of the well I forgot which game, but I think this game could be a shootout also.
yeah. I was saying I think it was the Packers and the Eagles being a shootout, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think this one has the likes of being a shootout as well. I mean, it's tough, right? Because Miami,
it,
Jacksonville, they're both hot places to play in
right.
early in the season.
And they're two
So you
teams
just,
that I don't like. I don't mind if they win, so I'm kind of like
yeah,
I'm torn between this, like, cause I don't mind them, but
yeah.
what do you think?
I think Tua and I think it's gonna take them a little bit. The Dolphins simply because of the whole again departures on defense. I don't think they're gonna be as good on defense as they were a year ago. I think losing Christian Wilkinson's gonna hurt them tremendously in that, and I think Jacksonville can run the ball. They got ETN, they got Bigsby. I think they're gonna be much improved on offense with adding Gabriel Davis, and you have Brian Thomas now, the rookie. So I think Jacksonville's going to be fun to watch. I think Lawrence is going to have a lot of weapons, a lot of different types of playmakers. Right? You have the shifty running back in ETN, and then you
Yeah,
have Bigsby, who's a hard nosed runner, and then for the pass catchers, you're going to have a big body receiver in Brian Thomas, a big body receiver in Gabe Davis, who's also a really good route runner. Then you also have, Christian Kirk, who's that dynamic playmaker. So I think things are looking good for the Jacksonville Jaguars on paper. And so hopefully you'd like to see that Trevor Lawrence takes that next step, and really shuts up the critics, right? Because
right.
he did get more money this
I know.
offseason.
Yeah, you got to
So
put up or shut up now, brother.
exactly.
Yeah,
So if I had to pick a winner, I'm gonna go with Miami just simply because of the offense. I think
it's too
they
much
have,
firepower.
yeah, they have too much firepower. Tyreek Hill, I mean, he's hard to stop. I don't think anyone could stop him. And then they have Devon Achan or A Chain, whatever his name is,
Who's your mama?
coming healthy. I think he's gonna be a hard one to stop as well.
I um I pick Miami because of the firepower. Like I just don't think Jacksonville has enough to just keep scoring like Miami can. And then it's in Miami, so of course they get home field with that. So
Yeah,
yeah, I take Miami. The next game though, oh boy, man, we got two of the best teams. If you're the worst team, whoop whoop.
right.
So the next game, Danny, though, is going to be one of the final games that Dennis Allen is comfortably coaching for the New Orleans Saints. If he loses and gets upset by Carolina and the young team there, and then it has to go into Dallas in week 2, and if you start 0-2, your ass is grass. Like this is going to be his last year, no doubt. He'll be the first coach. He's going to be one of the first coaches on the hot seat. Like there's no doubt.
Yeah, I can see that happen. So is your pick Carolina here?
Honestly, yeah, I'm gonna go Carolina. Why not?
So mine.
I just think that like the Saints should be so much better than they are. I mean, even the last 2 years, like they don't really lack the talent. They just lack the coaching and the I guess the IQ because sometimes you just see what they do and you're like, what are you doing? Like, what's happening? And that starts with the coaching staff, right? So I think Carolina can, definitely go up there and punch them in the jaw and then leave with the win.
I'm with you there. I'm with you there. Just I think Carolina. This is a trap game for me here. I think the NFL considers Carolina to be like the worst team because of the record last year, of course.
And
But
I don't think
they
they will be.
no, I don't think so either. I think with the pieces they've added in the off season, and then the players they drafted as well. I think and now they have a capable coach. I think the coach they got, Dave Canales, is going to be really good for them. and will motivate their team more than the previous coach did. So um, I think the only issue here with Carolina is can the owner stay out of the out of his own way, right? He's kind of like Jerry Jones 2.0.
Right. Yes.
But for this week, I think New Orleans, probably takes them lightly, and Carolina shows up.
Right. And then yeah, if you lose to them, and then you have to go into Dallas in week 2, that is not going to be how you want to start.
Yeah. I just honestly I haven't been impressed with New Orleans. Like these last couple of years, they haven't drafted well, in my opinion, and their playmakers are getting old. Right, they got rid of Michael Thomas this past year.
Isn't that crazy? Like I've never seen a receiver fall so quickly and just disappear from all news. Like it's
Yeah,
the weirdest thing.
yeah. I mean, you thought he was gonna be one of like the most decorated receivers in the league. From
For a
his
long
experience.
time.
Yeah, and his production, and it kind of went the opposite way,
It's
which
so
is really
weird.
surprising. And then Alvin Kamara, I mean, he's been suspended, he's been injured, he hasn't been the same either. And he was a playmaker. When Drew
Right.
Brees was there, he was dynamic.
That team was
And
so like that team was such a threat.
yeah, so it sucks to see them kind of fall
Right.
from grace.
They went back to the Aints. Like it's crazy.
Exactly.
They built an empire and then they were like Julius Caesar, and then they just like went back to the Aints, like because they just they just got jabbed in the back and it was over. But
That just shows you how much a quarterback means to a team or
or
franchise.
or just ownership, general manager, coaching, like it all has to be one. And if it's dysfunctional, it's gonna be dysfunctional for a while.
It'll crumble.
All
Yeah.
these young Kansas City Chiefs fans, they better be happy right now because once that regime retires and is done, they'll know how it feels to try to regroup.
It's a matter of time.
And all these Patriots fans were all disappearing now, especially in El Paso. Like,
I know.
I'm like, oh, where were
Well,
y'all? Okay, yeah, okay. Where are y'all? Seattle fans, where are they now? Like, where are they? Like,
yeah.
they all disappeared. Like, it's so pathetic, man. Like,
Now it's a lot of Kansas City fans.
yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm a Chiefs fan. Like, why? Because you're born yesterday? No, you're like our age. Like, don't even play. I hate bandwagon fans. But so the next game, this game, Danny, is going to be the start of the Daniel Jones and the Brian Daboll train going off the tracks. I think that if they don't beat Minnesota, it is going to be very, very quiet and very, very loud in the instance of what the hell just happened in New York. Because it's the people, the players are gonna be quiet because like, damn, we should have beat Minnesota. Like, man, they're injured. Their quarterback that was probably gonna be QB1 got injured, and what's happening. I think Minnesota, because Minnesota has an offensive coordinator who knows how to scheme teams to win. He did it 2 years ago. He had, of course, injuries last year with Kirk Cousins. And even they're favored in New York. They're a point and a half favored. And I'm
It's
thinking
crazy.
if you're Brian, exactly, and if you're Brian Daboll and you're Daniel Jones, and if you let Sam Darnold come into your dome, and I know it's not a dome, but I'm just saying, like, your house, and he just whitewashes you with some touchdowns, and Minnesota dips out with the win, it's not gonna look good in New York. And then you're gonna be sitting looking at Brazil like, oh, look, that's our old running back. Wow, what's he doing? And then it's like, oh yeah, you're the guys who let him go. And
Yep.
this is a very, very dangerous year for the New York Giants. And then if I'm Malik Neighbors, I am like sweating. I am not sleeping. I am sad and angry because I'm going to be like, bro, this can go really bad really quickly.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you in regards to the New York Giants, like just being not so good this year. I think there's going to be just a lot of question marks around Daniel Jones, and at the moment of any type of negative play or anything like that, that New York media is going to tear him apart, and it's going to also tear up Joe Shane and Daboll. I think for this week though, the little band-aid on top is going to be Malik Neighbors. I think Malik Neighbors keeps it close. Um, and also, I mean, you got to think about from the defense side too. They added Brian Burns, right? So they have an elite defensive line, and with Darnold always seeing ghosts, this is the reason why I'm picking New York. I think New York squeaks out a win here at home. But there's
They
just a lot of
better
question
hope.
marks.
They
There's
better
just a lot
hope.
of question marks here for the New York Giants, right? Daniel Jones being the main one, but then the running back room as well. Like, what does it look like with Singletary? Devin Singletary hasn't been known to be kind of like Pollard, Tony
Uh,
Pollard, right? He hasn't been known to be a workhorse. He's been kind of a running back by committee type of running back.
right.
So to put all your eggs in one basket, from going from Saquon to
Yeah.
now
You went
Devin
from one of
Singletary,
the best running backs in the NFL, and you decided not to keep, and then you let your division rival take. Yeah, oh my God.
yeah, I think they're gonna
That was
finish
like
last in the
Buffalo
NFC.
giving you want to beat me again? You want to beat me up?
Yeah,
Okay, here you go.
take Worthy. Here you go.
Here's the paddle.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I don't think New York. Okay, Danny. Well, that's bold prediction. That's later, so I'll get there. But yeah,
yeah.
New York's gonna be one of my things. But so the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Chargers.
A lot of
Uh,
hype going into this one with the coaching
yeah, new coaches,
matchup.
new regime. Like this is an exciting game because one, my boy is gonna be finally, hopefully, out of his walking boot, and two, like this is gonna be where like who jumps to maybe the second spot for this division.
Yeah,
You get a chance
I
right here.
I think second spot. So okay, we got the likes of the Raiders. I'm not a fan of their quarterback. I told you this before. I'm not a believer in Gardner Minshew. I'm not a
What, you don't
believer.
believe in the mustache?
I do not.
it
You'll get a couple good weeks from him.
Well, long term, no. Like I
No.
think if they were like just magically gonna pop in the playoffs, I think he'd be like a Nick Foles type of thing story where like he can just get hot at the very end and then that's it. But
yeah, I agree.
but yeah, a
But
whole season.
yeah, he's not an Iron Man for sure. I don't think he'll have success to take them to the playoffs. So I want to say Denver. I think I'm gonna go with your boy Bo Nix. I think.
No, Chargers. Come on.
Oh no, but I thought you were saying number 2 in the
No, I'm
division.
saying these two teams start this week to try to push for number 2. But I'm down either Oregon team I think is going to be number 2.
I think that for this matchup, right, for the Chargers and the Raiders, that's what we're talking about now, right?
Yeah, like that. This is great.
So for the Raiders and the Chargers, I think that Jim Harbaugh will win this one.
Okay.
And simply because they have the better quarterback. Yes, they have a lot of question marks with the receivers, right? They have Quinn Johnston coming into his second year. They didn't have the best rookie year. So that's always a question mark. But they did have a couple of other, wide receivers that came into the fold, right, that they've added for free agency. You just don't know that. I mean, that's the biggest question mark. But simply, I think, what's his name? Why am I trying to blank on your boy?
Justin Herbert.
Thank you, Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert can make anybody good. He's that type of quarterback to make anyone around him good. And so for that fact, I think he outplays Gardner Minshew here. And then the biggest question mark. I mean, I don't think the Vegas Raiders have a really solidified backfield either with the loss of Josh Jacobs, right? And so if you're comparing those two positions from both teams, I think again by committee, the Chargers brought in Gus Edwards. They brought in J.K. Dobbins, right? And they've also had a couple of other running backs previously. So I think I'll give them the nod there. And offensively, offensively, I think they just take the cake there. And then defensive side, you have Joey Bosa, right? You have Khalil Mack. You can't go up against them. You have Derwin James.
And what I love is what do any Harbaugh do when they come to a team? They bring physical mofo energy. And I think that Khalil Mack and Bosa like the defense is finally going to be going towards where they should have been all along. Physical and punching people in the mouth. So I'm excited to see where they go with that on the defensive side. But I picked the Chargers. Yeah, my boy Herbert, I think can light it up at probably at the second half. He might start slow, but I think they can get the win. And then, but yeah, so going back to what you were saying, we're going to talk about it right now. Denver Broncos could be the number 2 spot of the AFC West, which, hey, man, that'd be one that would surprise a lot of people if they end up number 2 in that division. And then if Bo Nix shows up like if Bo shows a little bit of what I think he can do, then he's going to prove me right to a lot of people. And then, so Bo Nix.
Did you see that he was named captain? First time a rookie quarterback has been named captain since like 1960 something. I think I saw.
I'm just saying, man. Like the guy is different. Like there's, like I said, you can't teach accuracy. Like that's just how the person is. But just the way he is, his demeanor, his leadership, like he's a guy that's gonna be like a Brady, where he's gonna be the first one in the room, and he's gonna be the last one to leave. And then and Sean Payton, I'm sure, sees it. Like he's gonna put in that work.
And Sean Payton doesn't give out those captain patches to anyone.
Well, like I said, he kicked Russell Wilson out of 1 year, and that was supposed to be the guy. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, Sean Payton's gonna pick who he wants because it's his way or no way. And and then it's gonna be a great test. You're going into the 12th man of Seattle in Seattle, and it's gonna be a great test from the jump.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I think it's gonna be a hard place to play for sure, especially for a rookie coming into his first game. Yeah, it's a tough matchup. It really is, but I think it's gonna be close. And you know how I feel about Geno Smith. I'm not a believer in him.
Right.
And so
I'm sure a lot of people are still like, because like 2 years ago, man, we were like, deserving he was comeback player of the year, because he was he looked like he was retired, and then he just balled out. And then last year he went back to Geno Smith. It was a little more inconsistent. So and that's why Denver has a shot here. I think if he was like 2 years ago, Geno, it's not going to be close, because Bo Nix, his first game in that daunted like Seattle noise and stuff, it's gonna be intense. The only thing that Bo has going for him, he's used to being in USC. He's used to being in Oregon, even though he was a home team. He knows what loudness sounds like. He knows how craziness sounds like. So at least he's got that going for him. It's gonna be a good game though.
You know what also helps Bo Nix is just his career as a college quarterback.
Right.
He played the Alabamas. He played USC's.
He went from Auburn to Oregon, and it's crazy.
He understands big games, and I think going into his NFL career to go up against a loud environment like that, I don't think it's gonna phase him too much. It'll phase him, but I don't think it's gonna phase him enough to really impact his play in a negative way.
Right. Yeah, I think it's gonna be, this game is gonna be a lot more good, like a lot more swag to watch than most people believe right now.
Yeah.
This one might be a shootout, actually.
You think so?
Yes. Because if he can block out the noise, they have the power to shoot out with Seattle. And then it could be a shootout.
I think it's a close one. I really do. And even though I said that Denver's going to be second in the AFC West, I think they're still going to lose this game.
Right. I'm with you.
Yeah, you pick Seattle as well. I just think their defense is good. Their offense will be, they have good running backs, and they have DK Metcalf. So it's not going to be that easy of a matchup for them. But I think it's a really close one, and Bo Nix impresses here.
Right. All right, sir. We get to America's team versus the Browns. And then with the daunted helmet logo. All right.
Your favorite logo?
So, Mr. Danny Ramirez, we already know where I'm going to go with this, but I want to hear your take first.
Oh man, I think the Browns win this one. I'm just kidding now.
Oh, I was like, okay, well, it's your choice, it's your opinion. It's your opinion.
No,
I mean, they have a chance to win, no doubt.
I just don't like the quarterback play here is what's keeping me from picking Cleveland. If Deshaun Watson was active in the preseason, if he was, often playing and not injured, I think I would pick them. Their defense is awesome, but
Yeah.
then on the other side, Dallas's defense is awesome. So I think from an offensive standpoint, I think Dallas is just going to put up more points than the Cleveland Browns offense can. And then from the defense, I think Dallas is just a better defense. So they're going to put some pressure on Deshaun Watson if he plays, or if it's what's his name, Jameis Winston.
Right.
I think regardless of who's behind center, I think Dallas is going to be generating a lot of pressure for whoever plays. It's going to result in a lot of overtime, a lot of turnovers. And so yeah, I simply just give this matchup here to Dallas, and I think it's going to be one of those matchups that they win by 14 points.
Right. So Dallas can easily lose. Like it could just be one of those games where Cleveland, they're at home and they get hot. The one person that I think could be MVP of the game, Danny, is not Dak Prescott. Is not Njoku. It's not Garrett. It's not Diggs. Brandon Kicking Leg Aubrey, number 17 for the Dallas Cowboys, can be the MVP of the game. Let me tell you why. Cleveland is a weird stadium to play in, especially because of the grass, right? Like it's and if you have a great defense in Cleveland, it's very hard to score on them. And if Dallas gets a few turnovers and Cleveland's defense is standing tall, who's going to be the person that scores the most points in the game? And that's going to be one of the field goal kickers. And I trust my kicker right now probably over anybody. If he can score a 66-yarder in a dome stadium, then I'm sure he can score a 47-yarder to win the game, no matter where he's at. So I think Brandon Aubrey, if there's a time where you want to pick a kicker for fantasy points, this is the time. Because I think this game is going to be all defense on both sides of the ball, and then it's going to be field goal. Cleveland's going to be kicking field goals. Dallas going to be kicking field goals. And it's just Dallas going to have more turns to kick a field goal.
So you're saying Dallas is going to have a rusty offensive performance?
At this point, why not? Cooks hasn't played. Lamb hasn't played. I mean, and Cleveland's defense is no joke. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm down if they scored. If they score and they had no Cooks and no Lamb the whole year, then I'm going to be like, off the chain, off the hook, because I'm going to be like, bro, if we can do this while we're rusty, supposedly, then we're going to be able to score points when we're going to be able to score points. But yeah, I think it's going to be a defensive game for sure.
Gabe said to go with my gut and to go with Cleveland.
Wait, did he text finally?
Yeah, he texted me. I don't think he texted the group though.
Oh my god. Yeah, of course he would. Yeah,
says,
typical Bears fan. Not texting the group chat.
He's calling this an upset special.
That Cleveland's going to beat Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be.
I honestly, I'm not a believer in Cleveland this year. I know they had a really good defense last year. They were probably the Cinderella team, but they don't have a Joe Flacco this year. And
to ride the ship that they need.
Yeah. I just think they take and then again they're starting off the year without Nick Chubb. That hurts their offense as well. So I don't know. It's going to be very difficult for them, and they're going up against a daunting defense. I don't think Dallas is going to have any drop off on defense, especially with Overshown playing now. I think he's going to be one of those unsung heroes for that defense.
That him and the linebacker from Notre Dame, Lufutu or whatever. Like I think them as a 1-2 punch, because like it's gonna be Kendricks and then one of them, and then obviously when Kendricks like leaves and retires or whatever he does, it's gonna be those two owning the show. So I mean, this is gonna be great depth growth for both of them.
They won't have DaRon Bland, right? He's hurt.
No.
So who's the other cornerbacks there?
You got Hall, you got Lewis. I think we're gonna be fine in the secondary. Like Dallas's front seven, especially the front four, those Micah and Lawrence themselves, without even the other two, always put pressure. So that's why our secondary is able to eat all the time, is because they rush the quarterback, so it's either overthrown or underthrown, and then that's why we get picks. So I think that if our defense can get massive turnovers before Bland gets there, and then if Diggs stays healthy, and we finally get to see Diggs and Bland together, like that is going to be a ridiculously great secondary.
Yeah. Oh, let's see what happens.
It's going to be that close.
There's Gabe in the group chat.
Well, I mean, there, yeah, I know, finally, but yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like Cleveland can win. Like I don't think this is going to be a like week 2 next week. I think Dallas is going to destroy New Orleans, but I mean, this week it's going to be a lot closer to like the within the 5 minutes of the game where like we have to put up or shut up to win the game.
Well, Vegas agrees with you. The line is what in favor of the Browns.
Right,
By
2.5. Yeah, 3 points. So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm going to trust my field goal kicker over anybody else.
I have a lot of confidence in the Cowboys. Don't let me down.
Same guys. All right, so now we get the Washington Commanders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game's very interesting. This game could go either way, no joke. Oh man, and Tampa's at home. Man, what if Tampa's
had a quiet offseason, don't you think? Like a lot of the things that you thought weren't going to happen, like Mike Evans staying with the team,
right?
Happened. They kept their team intact.
They kept the regime.
Yeah.
And then and what Baker signed a 3-year contract or something. So I mean, you know what's cool is that they believe in him. Like that's what he needed. It was just someone that was just like, you know, maybe you could pull it off. But these guys are like, nah, man, you're the guy. Like we know you can pull it off. So I'm like, this one is Washington could definitely pull spoiler. I could see this game going either way.
Yeah, this one's tough.
Yeah, this one's probably one of the closest ones we have to choose from my perspective.
This one's really tough. I don't know. I guess I'm leaning more towards Tampa. And simply because they have that chemistry already on the offensive side.
The veterancy, they're at home. Yeah, like that's the only. If they were in Washington, I would pick Washington.
Yeah, I would too. Dang, we're pretty. I don't think we have any differences here.
Except for Gabe. Gabe's always got to be the rebel. But it's all good, Gabe. It's all opinions anyway. We all could be totally wrong by the end of Monday.
Yeah, history says we're gonna be completely wrong. There's gonna be a shitload of upsets.
Right.
We're gonna look stupid after week 1. That's what history tells us.
But
yeah, Tampa. I don't know, man. I'm not. Tampa's a very difficult team for me to predict. Just I don't know what kind of team they're gonna be. I didn't predict them last year. I thought they were gonna be really one of the worst teams in the NFC, and shit, they made the playoffs. So it shows I know nothing.
Shows I know nothing.
Yeah,
but I mean,
that's tough.
Yeah, let's go Tampa. Just because they're at home, the veterancy, you know, the animosity, you know, it's gonna be. And this game's tough though. I think Washington could pull it off. But
I'm excited to see what Washington looks like, especially
you know what,
Jaden Daniels.
We'll this will be our first difference. Yeah, I'll split this one just so we can make it fun. Washington can pull it off because they can. Honestly, they can. Dan Quinn will play them. They'll have them playing with energy, and they could pull the spoiler. So I'll go Washington Commanders for Uncle G. Okay. But the next game, man. Oof. Oh man, heavyweight versus heavyweight. I think that Matthew Stafford gets his revenge this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this was probably the perfect game. This was a perfect game to put on Sunday Night Football.
Right, it's so good.
Cinderella team from last year, and they amounted to all the success that everyone had. Not everyone, but a lot of pundits had predicted. I mean, they went one interception away from the Super Bowl, right? Because that whole Ayuk interception was the one that it wasn't an interception. It was just a reception.
Right.
But
Yeah,
if
and
that
it
would
should
have
have
been an
been. It should.
interception,
Yeah, it should have been picked.
yeah,
Yeah, because it was
and
bobbled in the air, right? Like it was like boop, and then he was like,
yep,
"Oh, look
he
the
had it. He
ball,"
had it, but it hit his helmet and bounced
and
to
that's
Ayuk.
why Ayuk had all the power, right there. If I
True.
don't catch it, we don't go to the Super Bowl, guys. Just so you know.
That is true. Good point. But yeah, I think this was a perfect game simply because of that. You have the NFL darling, the Detroit Lions, and then you have going up against the former quarterback in Matthew Stafford. And again, that was a lot of headlines going into that wild card matchup last
Right,
year
and
when
they
they
only
met up.
won by what, 1 point or 2 points?
Yeah, it
Like
was a close game.
yeah,
And I think the Rams are going to be much improved this year offensively. Defensively, they're still going to figure it out. They might have a couple hiccups without, Aaron Donald being there, but they had a solid defensive draft. So it's going to take them a little bit to be, pretty productive there.
A-
But I think that, to your point, I'll pick Stafford here as well.
and another point with mine is Detroit's injuries, right? Like they lost what, 2 or 3 starters for the year, and I'm like that's going to show up big, especially in week 1, because everyone's still kind of learning teammates or whatever. If you're new, if you're drafted, like there's a lot of question marks. So I think Sean McVay, who's been there, done that, Matthew Stafford, been there, done that, like, hey man, like they got us last time. They're not gonna get us again. And I'm excited. I do this Sunday night game. I can't wait. Like it's gonna be a great Sunday night game. But yeah, I think Stafford gets his revenge, and then and technically it's already the revenge, right? Because he left the team to go win the Super Bowl, so
True.
he'll have 2 now. But yeah, I'm excited to see this game. But yeah, Rams for sure. I'd say Rams beat them by 9.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
They whoop on them then. They
Yep.
control that game.
They control it absolutely.
I
Oh
think
man,
it comes down to I
Go
think
ahead.
it comes down to a last drive, a last magical drive, and I think that's probably the perfect way for Matthew Stafford to go back home and beat his team on the
That'd be
last drive.
and going back to your point, imagine like the fans there, like, oh no, we gave Stafford
They will
time.
hate him.
Yeah, no, well, they'll just like, no, we gave Stafford time. No, because I mean they've seen it too. Like he had some great
Yeah.
comebacks. His team was atrocious, and at one point, he had. I remember him and Tony Romo and Matt Ryan were competing for the most like fourth quarter like game winning drives to overtime or whatever. Like Stafford was a part of that list. And it's because his teams were so bad that he had to score points, and then hopefully he gets the ball at the end. And that's what was Tony Romo like. Man, pray to God that Tony Romo gets the ball at the end, because if not, then it's over. But yeah, so that'd be kind of cool, man. If if he gets the ball at the end, it's like, oh no, like, you know what I mean? Oh, for your Lions fans, oh no. But
Yeah.
it'd be awesome to see.
It'd be a heartbreaker for sure.
Yeah,
And,
I think they're gonna beat them pretty good.
wow, I can't see that. I guess because I still consider the Lions to be really, really good.
Well, I
I
do
think they're
too.
gonna have a really good year. It's just I don't know, something about the Rams and Cooper Cup being healthy finally. I don't know. That's why I guess I'm leaning towards the Rams, but it's a
Right,
close matchup. It could go either way.
right.
Look at
Oh
the
yeah,
Vegas
absolutely.
has them as a favorites
Yeah, the
by 3.5.
Lions are gonna win. Sheesh. Oh man, but man, I agree with Gabe right here. The New York Jets are not gonna tear their Achilles, and they're gonna win the game.
Wow,
Who
this is
you
tough.
who you
Yeah,
picking?
this is tough. I'm really curious to see what Aaron Rodgers does with the Jets. I think he has again all the playmakers around him. I think if he stays healthy, Garrett Wilson will be one of the best wide receivers in the league next
I
year.
I think Garrett Wilson has the opportunity to be in the conversation of MVP,
Wow, that's a
because
bold statement.
he's gonna score a shit ton of touchdowns with this man.
Yeah,
If Rodgers stays healthy, Wilson will score a
yeah,
bunch of things.
yeah. I agree with you there. I think he will be one of the best wide receivers in the league
Absolutely.
after
And he'll
it's all
finally
said and done.
get to show what he's worth, because like with all his terrible quarterback play, all these other receivers that he's like, been under, like they're getting paid, and he can't show nothing because he's only scoring like 2-3 touchdowns a year because his quarterback plays so terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll get that with Aaron Rodgers if he stays healthy. That's a big question mark. I still remember him running with the American flag out the tunnel and
and then
getting hurt.
right, literally Tim is like, and I was like, what happened? He tore his Achilles. As soon as I see him go down, I was like, he just tore his damn Achilles. And technically,
Yeah.
this is year one with them because he never had a year one yet. Like this is year one technically with them.
A lot
Man,
of people are picking this as a Super Bowl matchup between the Niners and the Jets.
It's possible.
But man, it's tough. This matchup's really tough for me. Just all the distractions that the Niners have been going through. On paper, I think the Niners are a better team right now,
Right.
Compared to the Jets. But with all the distractions that they've had to endure like the last couple months, just recently, I think that the Jets, I mean, this could be one of those games where they go into San Francisco and kind of like, what happened with Baltimore Ravens last year, where they went in there, they weren't ready, they weren't prepared mentally, and they got blown out.
What I'm excited to see is, remember, Aaron Rodgers does not have a good track record against San Francisco.
True.
But now,
that's a good point.
He's with the Jets, different philosophy. This is LaFleur and Mike McCarthy were, schemers and finesse. Saleh and the Jets are physical. So I think this is what's going to help Rodgers over San Francisco because he doesn't have to do all the finesse stuff because the defense is going to help him sure up some closer field advantage. So I think that I think Rodgers finally gets his revenge against San Francisco and beats them.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go the other way then. I'm gonna go with San Francisco since we're pretty similar. I mean, I agree with your mindset. The logic's there, and I agree with it there. But to try to change it up a little bit, I'm gonna go with San Francisco here because it could go either way. Like I mentioned, they could go either way. But yeah, it's tough. This is a tough matchup. That concludes week 1. I wonder how right we're gonna be.
Man, we're gonna have the first pick next year because we're gonna be so bad. Oh man, yeah. But this is gonna be fun, man. This is fun.
I know we did this when we first started this podcast. We chose the division winners. I think we did it when the schedule came out.
Right.
But if you had to pick the winners again, do you agree with your original list? And if you could remind the viewers what your original list was, who's your division winners?
I forgot what division did I have.
Let's start with the NFC East. Who's your winner there?
NFC East. Damn it! Oh no! Remember I told you I couldn't do the East and you couldn't do the North, so you have to do the East. No, sir. We're staying on track with that.
All right, you did mention that last week. Yeah, you're right. All right, so my
you do the East.
NFC East winner is going to be the Eagles. I think the Eagles win it. Who won last year? Remind me. Was that the Cowboys?
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys.
And what did you say? What's your rule that hasn't happened since 2004 is you haven't had consecutive winners.
Yeah, I hope.
Right? Since 2004?
Yep.
I think the trend continues there. I think the Eagles, just based off of them getting all of the playmakers that they got. I mean, they got Jahan Dotson from the Commanders for what, 3rd round pick?
Yeah, for nothing.
So
highway robbery.
That's gonna be. I think he's gonna be a good addition to the team. I mentioned Saquon Barkley earlier. I think their offense is gonna be explosive this year. All right, since I can't pick the NFC North, who do you have there?
It's going to be a lot closer than people believe, but I think when it's all said and done, Chicago niches right above Green Bay, and then at the very end of the year, like maybe like the last week of the season, Detroit and Chicago will be fighting to win the division. And I think if the injuries stay where they are now, Detroit will win the division. But if they keep getting through that the injury bug, because sometimes it hits the team a whole year. Like people just keep
Yeah.
getting nicked up. If it hits them the entire year, the Chicago Bears will win the division.
Wow. Eh, I would, I love that, but I have to see it to believe it. I already told you
Right,
that.
right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, this is all speculated, but I'm just saying by paper, Detroit should win the division still, just because
Yeah.
they're the team that's been there. But if like they get a little nicked up and things get a little tight, Chicago I think can surpass Green Bay, and then they'll win the division because Green Bay has one of the toughest divisions. They're getting nicked up also. And like just like we're saying, like the Brazil thing might be something that trickles down the line for them that just hurts them. And that's bold. Thanks, Jay. Honestly, I think Chicago has a chance to win the division. From what I see in the preseason, what you guys done through the offseason, if Caleb can just stay away from making a mistake in a key point in each game, your team will have a fighter's chance in every game this year. Finally,
Yeah.
and that'll be a chance to win the division.
That would be awesome. I wouldn't mind that at all. And I told you, I think I told you last week, I've been super impressed with just like the way the whole team plays in the
Right,
preseason, right? They were blowing out teams. And usually when the third stringers come in, second stringers, like it starts becoming kind of like fair again, right?
right,
I didn't see that with Chicago. I thought like all their first, second, third string all played hard, and that's promising.
right.
Um, but again, like on paper, I still think the Lions are a better team offensively. Maybe not defensively, but offensively, they're a better team. And then Caleb's gonna figure it out. I think eventually he's gonna take some time to really learn the speed of the game. He'll make some mistakes. To your point, I think it's bound to happen.
Right.
But if he can not make those mistakes, in the fourth quarter when it
Or just
counts.
not a lot, right? Like if he could just
Hmm.
minimize them, it'd be it. I think so. What we're overlooking too, and I thought this was a cool stat also, is Chicago. The last 6 weeks of last year was the number one scoring defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
If they can kind of continue that trend and just have Caleb not do that mistake. If he's just mistake free, then you guys will have a puncher's chance in hell this year from the jump.
Yeah. That's true. And hopefully, you know how it is. It's very difficult to replicate the success from season to season.
Right.
But
Yeah,
the
like
last
Gabe
couple of
said, he's
weeks,
more worried about the Packers. Like I'm saying, like all three are going to be there to fight. I mean,
it's a tough division.
right. And I mean, Minnesota won it 2 years ago, so who the hell knows, right? Like it's so bizarre.
True.
It's
Remind me, did we do the NFC South, or did you do it, or did I do it? Did you do it?
honestly, I don't remember who had all the divisions, but I remember like AFC West. I mean, we're gonna agree it's the Chiefs. Like, let's just skip that part because it's Kansas City all
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
You had the Dolphins and the Jets in the AFC. So let's do that one because well, who do you have this time?
When I'm not on meds,
Okay, yeah. When you're
when
not on
I'm not on meds,
medication and you're not trying to pick two teams in the same division, who do you got?
I'll pick the Jets this time around.
All
I'll
right,
pick the Jets simply because Mike Williams, their defense is coming back healthy. I think their defense is better than Miami's defense. Yes, I'd give the edge to the Dolphins offense right now, but if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, the Jets offense is going to be just as dynamic as the Jets. I mean the Dolphins offense. So I got to give them the pretty much. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt here with their defensive play. I'll
right.
give it to the Jets here, but it's going to be a close division. Bills, Pats, I think they're going to be at the bottom. I don't think the Bills are going to be competitive this year, just simply because of their tough schedule. I don't see them. I think they're going to get too far back, and it's going to be very
Yeah,
difficult for them to
yeah.
come
They don't
back.
make it through,
Yeah.
and then the Patriots are
So
in rebuild mode anyway.
yeah. So what do you think about the AFC East?
No, I can go with I'm good with the Jets. Like Mike
Yeah.
Greenberg needs something. That poor guy. I mean, I remember the day after Rogers tore his Achilles. Like that man was like literally about to be in tears on set on his own show, and he is the host of his show, and he was like on the bridge of tears because he was like, Jets fans finally had hope, and
Yeah.
it went away literally in 10 seconds. And I was like, I remember him. I mean, he was in his face, but I'm down. Like, let's pick someone different. Let's this the Jets would be awesome.
Yeah, I think the Jets will win, and
So
Dolphins are
the
going to be good as well.
so let's do the AFC. So AFC West is the Chiefs. The AFC East is the Jets. What about the AFC North? You picked the Ravens, I think.
Yeah, I stayed with the Ravens. I think they're probably a better team, and I think when we first talked about it, I had the Steelers as number 2.
Right.
This time I swapped them with the Bengals. I think the Bengals will be number 2, Steelers will be number 3. The preseason didn't help me any. I was wanting to see the Steelers kind of dominate from both any quarterbacks, whether that be Wilson or whether that be Justin Fields. And of course, through Wilson's injuries, we didn't really see him too much, right? So we saw Fields, and Fields didn't do anything that I thought he would do. And again, it's preseason. It's hard to really, get a true indication of what a team's gonna look like because it's so vanilla in the preseason. But I don't know, man. I just feel like this Wilson train's gonna be falling off the tracks, and it's gonna call for Justin Fields to come on, and then it's just gonna really bring a lot of negative attention to the Steelers. So I think with the Bengals on the opposite side, right, there was a lot of negative attention for them simply because of T. Higgins. Now Jamar Chase wants a new contract, and now it seems like they're going into the season with those two playmakers there. Joe Burrow hopefully is healthy. So I think I give them, the edge over the Steelers because of all that. But Ravens, I still think is the top choice there to win the division.
So I'm gonna go just real quick to what Gabe said. He said, "Do you guys hear that Skip Bayless show got canceled?"
No.
That's wild because he's made a lot of enemies the last few years. It's
Yeah.
wild, and it's weird that he's gotten so bigoted, like his ego, or I don't know what's happening to him, but he's gotten worse every year. Like
It's
there's
the
times where,
age.
well, yeah, maybe like he thinks he's untouchable, but it's like, no. But hey, Fox Sports One, if you need a new show, I mean, Danny Ramirez and JD Sursley can definitely help out with that. Let
I'll
us
quit my
know.
job tomorrow. I'm
Yeah,
quitting my
like
job tomorrow.
I'll be on a plane to LA or wherever the show was. Let's go. But yeah, that's crazy. I'm gonna have to look that
Yeah.
up. See what
Yeah, I
see
didn't know
what
that. That's crazy. And honestly, I'm not a fan of him. I liked him with Shannon Sharp. Um, but it got to a
but
point.
yeah, Shannon left because of him.
Yeah, I mean, and it's because of what you were saying. He just it's only his opinion that really counts, and no one else's. And he insults people, which is you don't want to do that as a host. People, are meant to have different opinions, and you're able to debate them. But once you start to get personal, I think that's where
Right.
it
Like,
doesn't
yeah, the
help
whole
anything.
point of a debate and us, like, even you and I are not going to agree on everything, but we're not going to sit here, point fingers, and then, like, throw spears at each other. Like, it makes no sense.
Shoot, I'll be first to admit I was wrong in my debate last year. And me and Gabe were going at it, not in a bad way or anything, but we were going at it. I was defending Justin Fields last year because of him not having the supporting cast around him, and he
Right.
was saying, "Oh no, well Justin Fields, his quarterback, it's not there. Like he doesn't have the attributes." Sure
Right.
enough, I was clouded by all that. Now that I have Justin Fields, now that I have Caleb
Maybe
Williams,
you're still clouded. You're still.
a little bit. It's a little murky there, but
You love you. It's an
no,
Ohio State thing. You're just in love with him.
I'll be first to admit that I was wrong. And now that I see the potential in Caleb Williams, yeah, Justin Fields clearly didn't have all that,
Right.
and I was blinded by all that. So I'll be first to admit I was wrong, right? And that's what you got to do when you're wrong. You're wrong. Just admit it.
Yeah. Well, like I told you in that the preseason, I guess I think it's against the Bengals, but when he scored that running touchdown, I said the poise of him to look first to pass is what froze up the defense so he could run for that touchdown. If Lamar Jackson's rookie year, or even Justin Fields or Trent Richardson, what happens when they roll out? They're going to try to run from the jump. And
Yeah.
that's why they get hit, or that touch. He probably doesn't score if he runs first because everyone's going to attack the run from the jump.
Yeah, they collapse it.
Right. So then he froze them because he thought about passing, and then he's like, you know what, still not there. Let me take off. And that's something you can't teach. And because it's in a bang bang split second type of situation where the guy has it or the guy doesn't. And Caleb showed that he had it.
Yeah. Hopefully it continues.
Right.
We'll see.
But man, this is crazy. All right. So Chiefs West, East is the Jets, North is the Ravens. I concur on that. And there's no, we don't have to rebuttal. And then what's the South, right? AFC South. I mean, we picked the Houston Texans. I mean, if there's no injury, this team is going to be the best Houston Texan team ever.
Who's your number 2 in that division?
When it's all said and done, I'll say Tennessee.
That's who I picked.
I'll just, I trust. I mean, I think Jacksonville could be 2 easily, but I just wanted to go on a limb here. Like Tennessee looks like they know more so where they're heading than Jacksonville does.
Yeah, which is surprising if you think about it, right? We're picking the Titans over Doug Peterson led team,
right?
When
and it's
the
scary.
Titans have a new coach, right? If it was Mike Rabel, I'd be like, oh yeah, number 2, easy. But with them having a new coach, it's kind of like up in the air, right? But you still,
Right. I
they
think
have
Jacksonville they have a great chance still to be number 2.
yeah, I get flip flop, easy,
Right.
easy. But
I think
the
4
veteran
4 is
presence-
Colts for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just not a believer in AR. All
Yeah.
right.
So we did the East and the NFC, and we did the NFC North. So we'll do the NFC South. I say the Falcons win the division.
I agree. And I think I think it's the Falcons. I think it's the Bucks, and then it's a fight between the Saints and the Panthers. I think the
Right.
Panthers may end up being third.
And what's crazy with the Buccaneers schedule towards the end, the Falcons might win the division by December.
Yeah.
There's a guy was it on NFL Network or Fox Sports when I was at work. It was like they're doing their bold predictions. I think it's Fox Sports 1 with what was the long hair guy with like Nick, right? Or whatever.
Nick Wright.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that. I think it was that crew, but one of them had the Falcons as the number 1 seed.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I was like, what? But if you look at their schedule, especially if you look at their division, if they whitewash their division, that's already 6 wins. They play the New York Giants and the Commanders. That's easily for a veteran team, especially Kirk Cousins over a youthful team. That's already 8-0. So I'm like, there's a good talk for that they can have a good. I don't know who they play in the AFC conference with their schedule, but I'm like, that's already 8 wins. So I'm like, his bold prediction is not that far off for debate of like a possibility.
That's crazy because these last couple of years, that number 1 seed has been a team that wins 13 games. It's been
right. Yeah, he had him at 13-4.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't see it, but maybe you never know.
it's crazy.
You never know.
My Super Bowl pick is Texans versus Lions. That's what Gabe said.
That's a good segue.
That's a good one.
That's a good segue. Who's your Super Bowl winner or Super Bowl matchup? Sorry.
Matchup. All right, this might be a little bit of Fantasy Island just because like it'd be like the greatest thing to see. The Houston Texans versus the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be the first It's going to be the first in-state Super Bowl matchup ever.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome to see. It'd be different.
Right. Because if Dallas
Cowboys fans would
in,
be so obnoxious, but hey.
Oh yeah, but if they can squeak in the playoffs, like you said, if the Eagles win the division, if Dallas makes the wild card, and then Dak does a FU season, where like I'm going to show you all. Can you imagine the pandemonium if the 2 Texas teams were in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, be crazy. What do they say? Nothing's bigger than football in Texas or something like that.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, okay. getting out of the getting out of the love for the Cowboys aspect. I think Baltimore, Houston will be the representative. So I'll stay with Houston. Houston Texans versus let's just go with this haymaker like that guy. The Houston Texans versus the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow. Ah, man, I can't see that.
Bold prediction. Here we go.
That is a bold prediction.
Right.
My my Super Bowl matchup as of right now, it's gonna be the Kansas City Chiefs. Boring, all right. But I just think that they're just a much better team than they were the last couple of times they've gone to the Super Bowl. Um, and in the NFC, that's tough. That is tough, but I'll probably pick. I'm gonna go with the Lions.
Wait,
Lions.
I was surprised you didn't go with the Rams because that was one of the guys that said he was
No,
like he predicted one of the bold predictions that the Rams would be in the Super Bowl.
really.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna be a much better team, but I don't think they're
Right.
gonna be Super Bowl caliber team.
Right.
I think the Lions have much to prove, and again, it's very difficult for a person who or a team that's lost the NFC Championship to repeat and go back. But I don't know. I liked what I saw from Dan Campbell.
Oh yeah. Well,
The
now I made
biggest
you a
question mark.
believer.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the way that they could compete against the likes of a 49ers team, right? So
Right.
they're capable of doing it, and so I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Lions and Chiefs, which we should have got last year.
Right. I would like to see the Ravens and Lions at that point. That would be fun to watch.
Yeah,
Man,
man.
it's
The
just there's so much there's so like but there's gonna be a team that we're overshadowing that's just gonna get hot and then it might be the
the
bell
Jags.
it might be the bell of the ball. Yeah, like I know NFC, like I don't know, man. As long as it ain't like Green Bay or Philly or I don't want to see Kansas City win again. Like I don't want them to
I
three-peat,
know,
man.
I know, man, but
Taylor Swift, will
they're
you
just
please
so
break up with
stacked.
Travis Kelsey? No,
Oh
I
man,
mean I don't want to mess up people's happiness, but yeah. So who do you have winning the division for the NFC West?
NFC West. I have the 49ers.
49ers?
Yeah, I
I
just think
have
they're just a really good team. I mean, even with all the distractions, I think they're capable of kind of going through all those headwinds and
right.
you know
I say the
overcoming all
Rams.
that.
The Rams win the division.
Wow, I have as number two.
Yeah, yeah, but I have the Rams. It's gonna be this the NFC West. Seattle, Los
It's tough.
Angeles, and San Francisco are gonna be they're gonna be battling for sure. The
I was
Cardinals are
watching
about a year away.
I was watching Good Morning Football, and a lot of them picked the Rams and the Seahawks to both be in the playoffs. So
Right. Yeah. Gabe says Rams too. So Gabe agrees. I can't believe you're turning your back on the Rams. How sad. Hey, he texted me last week, Gabe. He said Diamondbacks all the way. And then I was like, man, you're going to be a Cardinals fan soon. So I'm telling you, Gabe, better watch it. Better watch him, Gabe.
Marvin Harrison.
You better watch him, Gabe. Woo. Man.
No,
So,
there's
all
no
right.
converting here.
Let's do Gabe, you can chime in too, and then we'll say it on air. But okay. Let's do 3 bold predictions. There you go, right there. So MVP, and then 2 crazy things that people are not expecting that you're gonna do. We'll do MVP for sure, though.
I didn't pick the MVP. My bold predictions didn't consist of the MVP, but if I
Okay,
had
well
to
then,
pick,
okay, do your bold
no, it's
predictions,
okay.
and we'll do MVP also.
Okay, we'll do that last then.
All right.
So my first bold prediction is the Chiefs become the first team to three-peat. And I know it's not that bold because they're really good, but
It is
we haven't
bold.
seen it thus
It
far.
is bold. You know the betting odds against that is? Like I'm pretty sure 1 in a billion.
Yeah, it's tough, but I mean they have the team to do it.
I
Out of
know.
all the other years, I should say, this is the team that's been probably the most stacked on
Dallas was
offense.
probably the first team that had the chance, and then Jerry Jones like, "Oh, you're getting more headlines than me. You're fired." And he fires the head coach that built a team that was unbeatable. How sickening! We probably had the
But
chance, but stupid Jerry Jones. But anyway, go ahead, Danny.
no, that was my first one. So what's your first one?
Bold prediction: the Houston Texans, without no injury, will at least make the AFC Championship game.
I like it. I could see that. Man, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see Texans in the Super Bowl.
That'd be so cool. As long as they Kansas City, I'm down. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, honestly. And that's nothing against the Chiefs or their fans. Like, I'm just like, I don't want this to be. I just don't want to see another, like,
It just gets old for all the non-Kansas City Chiefs fans, right?
or,
To see.
or even if you're a Patriots fan back then, you know what I mean? Like, if you're a Patriots fan, you're loving it. But it's like for us, it's like, dude, again, like, damn. But yeah, bold prediction one for me is Houston Texans, at least in the AFC Championship game.
I like it. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
My second one, you ready for it?
Gabe, you want to chime in, and then I'll go.
Yeah, give us your bold predictions, Gabe.
While he's texting, how about you say yours again?
Yeah, I'll share my second one if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so for the second one, I say that Love regresses and is the third quarterback in the NFC North. I think Jared Goff, Caleb Williams have better statistical years than Jordan Love. That's my bold prediction. And
I
that's saying a
like
lot
it.
because he's looked like the best quarterback in the NFC North. So
I like it.
it's tough. But that's what I'm going with.
Damn. All right.
Gabe's came in. My prediction is the Chiefs will go undefeated and lose in the AFC Championship game.
Damn, that's a
That's a good
great
one.
bold prediction. Like, they'll be the Patriots of new. Like, that would be epic. Like, if they go undefeated and then they freaking lose in the championship. Then that would be the Houston Texans. Whoop, whoop. But that would be crazy. That's a massive bold prediction for sure.
Definitely. I like that one.
Massive bold prediction.
Very creative.
Wow. All right. My next bold prediction: the Los Angeles Rams will win the division in the second week of December.
Really?
Yeah. So literally like 3 games before the Niners or Seattle can like come up with it.
So in this hypothetical season,
Well,
it seems like the Niners struggle a little bit, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the South can be that way also. I think Atlanta could take advantage of that also.
I think I want to say the Falcons clinch sooner than the Rams do this year.
I can see that. Totally.
I like it.
Whew.
All right, you want my last one?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so this year we have a lot of highly potential quarterbacks as rookies, right? Right now, I think if you go to Vegas, I think the odds would be for like Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams winning the Rookie of the Year. I'm gonna go with Marvin Harrison Jr. winning the Rookie of the Year.
Ooh, now that is a left field bold prediction. I like that one. I like it a lot.
He has a really good statistical year. I think with him having a really good year, I think Kyler Murray has a really good year. And to your point, I think they're one of the shockers as far as the NFC West teams go. I think they'll have a lot of success. They won't win it, but they'll be really good team. A really competitive team this year.
Nice. Sheesh, this is awesome.
What you got?
Oh, all right. So my bold prediction, or my next one, I should say. I say that Tony Pollard runs for 1,500 yards.
Ooh. Wow, that's a great year.
And he stabs Dallas in the heart. Like, this is what you let go. Like, you know how Derrick Henry was the guy at Tennessee and he was doing all those yards? I think the atmosphere in Tennessee, whatever, they just know how to get running backs to run. And I think Tony Pollard is going to have an epic year. You
That's
had Chris
interesting.
Johnson before Derrick Henry, and he was doing it. And then you had Derrick. Like they know how to get running. Eddie George, you know what I mean? Like they've had those years where the running backs just take off, and a healthy Tony Pollard, which under a year 2 of Will Levis, which is going to depend on a run. You know, like they're going to be physical. Tony Pollard's going to get his carries, and I promise you, he's going to get those yards.
1,500 yards. That's a really good season.
Right. Like he's
Really
gonna
good
have an epic season. I might not be pushing 15, like I say 1,500, but it's gonna be a hell of a lot better than people assume. Like he's gonna be pushing for the running back. What is it? The running back leader or whatever by stats.
The rushing leader.
Rushing leader. Yeah, I think he's gonna have the potential to fight for it.
All right, now I'm throwing a curveball at you. Who is the leading rusher on the Cowboys?
Oh, when it's all said and done,
Yeah.
Rico Dowdle. Because I think Dalvin Cook and Zeke are going to get a little tired towards the end, and then Rico's going to have to just be the muscle and just run more. That running back committee is, if they can just do 60% of each other, that's going to be a pretty good running back committee, because you already have an offense from a quarterback to receivers that can score. So, like, you can comeback story of the year. Yeah, for sure.
I like it. I think I saw that he was he's potentially going to be named starting running back, right, for the Cowboys.
Rico. Well, on paper it's Ezekiel, but so he's gonna get the nod when they say like starting. Tom Brady's gonna be like, and the starting running back is Ezekiel Elliott. Deflate some balls, Ezekiel. It'll help you, I promise. But yeah, Ezekiel's number 1 on the chart. But I mean, I think at the end, like I think Rico can pull the weight towards the end.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
All right, so Gabe, another bold prediction or what? Oh, there
His
you
bold,
go.
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers wins MVP one last time. Woohoo! Wow. That, I mean, honestly, that's more realistic than a lot of the things that we've been saying. So that, I mean, that could be a thing right there. So I like it. So here we go, Danny, to end this. Who's your MVP when it's all said and done this year?
Good question. I don't think Lamar Jackson is gonna win it again. I mean, this is kind of cheating. I don't want to go this route because it'd be the easy way, and that would be Patrick Mahomes. I'm gonna go with somebody else. Let me think about it. Russell will. Just kidding.
Dude, if Russell Wilson wins the MVP, I'm gonna put $1 in Vegas right now. Because imagine he wins MVP and whoever didn't bet would be intense.
I'm gonna go with CJ Stroud. I think
Nice.
he has a magical season that we all think he's gonna have, and he will probably have the best year from anyone.
It's not because he's from Ohio State, right? Or
I was never a fan of his at Ohio State,
I know,
unfortunately.
isn't that bizarre? Like that's crazy.
Yeah. He emerged into what he is today, which credit to him.
And see, that goes back to the weird bonding question, right? Because Justin Field was built for college because you can run, be electric, be crazy, and improv. And NFL is less improv, more schematic, more foundation. Yeah. And that's what CJ is. Like, let me a little bit sound and found, and then just toss it in there. So I mean, like, man, that's crazy. So MVP CJ Stroud. Here's a massive bold prediction for mine. And the way we're talking, it just, man, that'd be crazy. Dakota Prescott has his FU season and just balls out and has another 30-plus touchdown season and wins MVP. And then whoever pays him, whether it be Dallas or whoever next year in the offseason, he's going to get the highest contract ever, along with, like you said, Patrick Mahomes-esque, but it's going to be crazy amount up front.
Not your Madden MVP, like real life MVP. Who do you got?
Well, he remember I traded him, so and it's so crazy. He won the Super Bowl with the Falcons, so that's bizarre. Before he retired, but so apparently he's capable. Well, he's got that massive star now in Madden 25. I saw from the highlights. So,
Yeah.
so apparently he's there. Have you played Madden 25?
Yeah,
Is it
I
good?
have. Yeah, it's really good. I
Is
already
it
went through
better?
my whole
Is it
season. It's more realistic.
really?
It's more realistic, and what I mean by that is just the way that you run the football. Like it's more realistic in the way the players move. So you know
Okay,
how
good.
before you wouldn't just juke and you would juke like the whole team to the right or to the left or whatever.
Right.
Now here is whoever's close in proximity that you juke. Sometimes you'll juke them, sometimes you won't.
Yeah, and then the other people won't get juked. Like they're gonna pop you.
Yeah, and then also like running in between the tackles or the guards, like that's tougher because the holes collapse a little bit better or a little bit faster, and so you need to really pick and choose which hole you want to run through.
That's
Sometimes you
awesome.
pick and choose right, so it's
What
really
about
cool.
what about passing?
Passing is it's awesome. I like it. I didn't like last year's too much because I felt like you couldn't really lead the ball where you want. Here
Right.
you can lead your ball wherever you want it. You can place it where you want it.
Okay.
So the dynamics a little bit better when it comes to
So
passing.
it's worth it, I guess. Damn it, you're gonna make me erase all
It's
this,
worth the
all
investment.
the 9 years of like what I've done in this Madden. So
Just
you've
do it.
already won the Super Bowl and everything.
Yep.
Damn,
I
look at
played
you.
the Cowboys in the NFC Championship.
Really? They made the chip?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were the best team the whole season.
Even better than you?
We had the same record, but what happened was I ended up losing to like a similar opponent,
Oh.
and so they got the nod
Oh, so
in
they got
front of
the one
me. They got
seed?
the 1 seed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you pulled it out, huh, Danny?
And guess who I played in the Super Bowl?
Kansas City.
I did, and it
Did
came
you
down to
win?
the last. Yeah, it came down to the last kick. I
And
won like
you
Adam
had the ball,
Vinatieri
right?
style.
Yeah, yeah, like you had the see,
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. Like if you give Mahomes the end, like you're not gonna win.
yeah. I learned from the Niners' mistake, so
Oh man. That's good. Hey man, yeah, I'll try to check it
do
out.
it. It's worth it.
Oh man, so this episode has been real fun, and like we said, it was gonna go bonkers and crazy. So
It's a
and
good
it,
way to start the year, for sure.
man, this is so epic. So we'll see how everything turns out and how fun everything's gonna be, which is I'm sure it's gonna be real fun. Um, man, and then of course we're gonna go week to week now, and then we'll laugh at our stuff later on because we're like, yeah, we were way wrong on this part, but it's gonna be
Yeah,
that's the part of the game though.
it's bound to happen. We'll be
Whew.
really wrong.
I know, right? That's
But good luck
hilarious.
to you and the Cowboys this year. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. And the Bears and the Cowboys are going to be playing each other in a deep playoff run. Here we go.
Oh,
The
that'd be
Bears.
awesome. Let's
That'd be
hope that
crazy.
happens.
That'd be wild.
All right, well, let's wrap this show up. What do you think? We're at 2 hours almost.
Yeah, that's crazy. We did good. So next week, after week one, we'll have a more indication of what's happening. I'm sure we'll get some injuries and so many crazy stuff going on. But ladies and gentlemen, Gabe Ramirez, Sun City Letterheads podcast loves and thanks y'all. Like, follow, and share. Anything else you want to add today, Danny?
No, just look forward to next week and see how everything plays out and discuss that going forward every week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fun. Bears down. All right. Sun City Letterheads podcast out.